Hello, and welcome back. I am so pumped that we're back on track because, well, during these a couple of weeks, I had a chance to learn a lot, to be honest, and have a look at a couple of cool ideas and cool technologies. And by the way, that just was a bit of brainstorming with my team, my new team at Shutterstock, which are brilliant engineers that really have very extensive experience and knowledge. And it just gave me a couple of ideas that I am willing to share in here. I already had a chance to put my hands on some of them, so it's going to be pretty cool to share it here. Okay, so let's start with obviously git commit. So git add all, and then git commit, and that's going to be, what did we do the last time? Oh yes, the finish initial visuals. Pretty easy. Again, this is something that we need to someday look at and change because we don't want to save all the PyCache and so on. But let's leave it for now. I'll dedicate a separate video for Git. Okay, so why not start with changing this long ass table that was nice to generate and render that data. It was pretty satisfying bit, but basically it's useless. Like, okay, you can just check the averages, but it doesn't say that much. So let's start with this. And let's make it a bit more responsive. Let's make it more, data sciencey. So, and to do it in a very quick way, you need to go to datatables.net. Just Google DataTables and the website will be there. And it's as easy as this. You go to download, and basically because we are using our Bootstrap template, it uses JQuery by default. It's in there, it's imported. So DataTables are using jQuery. So we don't have to do anything with jQuery. It's already there. We just need to download and install the DataTables. And to do it, you just go to download. And it doesn't mean you actually download it. You can just attach it just like we attached. Let's go to our templates and the base. And in base, for example, we are using this font awesome in here script from a CDN. This is font. Oh, Siri.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Leave me alone. Okay, I don't know where Siri came in and decided to chip in, but let me repeat myself. So basically, I was talking about these imports here. So we're going to do the same. We're going to get our data tables from a CDN. Again, my virtual assistant decided to react to this and this and this letter, and I'm not gonna repeat it anymore because she is very annoying. Okay, so we want to download data tables. We don't want a Bootstrap, and we don't want, oh sorry, no, that's the style. So style Bootstrap 4. We are using Bootstrap, so we are going with this styling. And then what we need is, we don't need jQuery and we don't need Bootstrap 4 because they're already in our template. All we need is data tables. And then we have some extensions here, and that's pretty cool stuff. Play around with it. I'm gonna go with very basic options, but very useful at the same time. But there is a bunch of things that some of them I never used actually, and that could be pretty cool to test. But I'm gonna go with the most typical buttons. I think these here, I want the flash export here, which is kind of cool. You can download your view as CSV or PDF or Excel. And then what I want is fixed header. I want the fixed header, and then key table, blah, 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 blah. There's a couple of cool things here, but I'm just gonna go with search panes. This is the most kind of basic searching capability. And now, see, you have this, and blah, blah, blah. I'm not gonna repeat it because Miss Assistant will react. So you can use these links in your code, and that's it. Your data tables is set. And also you can download it if you want. You can press download files here and get it on your computer, and then put it in your static files and get the files using static tag. But I'm lazy, so I'm gonna just use these links. And this is pretty annoying because it's okay. Now it works. So copy this, and that goes to the top because it's styling. CSS always goes somewhere to the top, so let's put it in here somewhere. Let's add a comment as well. Like you can see the comments here just describing what it is. So I'm going to just say data tables styling, and then command slash. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. All right, okay. It's trying to use. Okay, it's not the same. commenting. So I'm gonna just comment it manually. Boom, done. Okay. So that's in there. And then we need to get the JavaScript script. Basically what it is, DataTables is a script written in JavaScript that takes a table and does its magic in the, in the background. So it works like a very responsive and nice table. Okay, let's put it in here. I'm just gonna copy this because I'm too lazy to rewrite the commenting out, and then DataTables.js. Okay, save it. Now let's go to Airpollution template. Welcome, and let's look for table. Table is here. So that's a section for table, but the table actually starts here. So that's the whole thing for the table. Let's go to the website, DataTables website, and check how to install it now. So let's go to examples, 0 configurations. That's the easiest possible way. What I did there is, okay, so I need to add this piece of code. But I'm just copying this because if you remember the last time, we already have script and document.ready. And by the way, what it means, and if you don't know JQuery and JavaScript, with JavaScript, you need to wait until the whole document is loaded. And in pure JavaScript without JQuery, which if you see the sign, you can be sure that's the, you're using JQuery in this case. If it's pure JavaScript, the code is longer, but it does exactly the same thing. It waits until the whole document, the whole thing is rendered, and after it's finished, then it goes and does whatever we were doing here. Let's, by the way, just delete those console logs because we don't need to debug this part anymore. But anyway, so this is the whole thing. So what we do here is we wait for the document to be ready, and when we are ready, this is called a callback function. So when it's ready, okay, I made sure it's ready, now do this. So that's why it's a little bit squiggly. And if you go here, you have like closing curly bracket and then parentheses, and it's kind of weird because you have parentheses here and you have curly brackets here. Well, you'll get used to it at some point. It's nice to make this nice spacing because you know where it ends, and if you want to add a bit more, you can still say, hey, okay, after the document was loaded, it's ready, I want to add some more code here. So, and that code is here. I want to copy this and paste it just in here. So before the last curly brace and parentheses, and after this part here where we went through all the my chart bits before. So let's go here. Well, we are not so basically in jQuery, when we are trying to grab something, we can use different selectors. This selector is grabbing by ID. This hash means it's an ID. It's looking for ID. If it was a dot, it's looking for class. If it's nothing, then it's looking for a tag. So but I'm looking for a, oops, what's going on? Doesn't work. Okay. I'm looking, maybe not example, let's call it our table. I don't know. Our table, and I'm going to use exactly this string and go to my table, to our table, and look for table and add an ID. ID is our table. And that's gonna grab this table. So now we're looking at something that is understood by jQuery, and it's that table that we built above. And all we have to say is, hey, do the magic, do data table magic with it. And I know I did implement my DataTables script in here, so it knows what to do. That's the beauty of it. You don't need to do anything. You just have to make sure that you add this ID, whatever ID you want to come up with, it has to match the ID from the table, and then just say, hey, do the magic, dot data table brackets done. Okay, so all we have to do is we have to actually change some bits here. So let's go back to the web page, and so we have the JavaScript done, and it's just 3 lines. Well, we didn't have to write those 2, so just 1 line. In here we need to do so styling. We took care of the styling with Bootstrap, so that's fine. This is slightly different. We don't have T header and we don't have T body, so let's add that there. I know these are my headers here, so I'm going to just add 1 line above and call it T header head. Okay, let's copy, well, cut this, and let's paste it here. Okay, Option Command L for styling, and then here we need to do T body dbody, and then cut this. PyCharm is very helpful, but sometimes when you're fixing something, it doesn't help. Okay, Option Command L for beautifying, and now it's done. And now this fancy for loop first that I did, so we get this kind of effect. So we have the pollutant, just like one big cell, and then small cells here, rows for one big cell. That's not going to work with data tables. So we need to get rid of this line. So we're not looking if it's the first row, and we need to get rid of the row span as well. So we just need to have this th scope row, which is like the first cell in a row, and then the rest stays the same. Okay, that should work. And let's save this, and let's go to our website and refresh. And let's see, ta-da! And it worked. That's how it's supposed to look like. My screen is a little bit small, so it's not going to fit with the header. So let's just have a look at the table itself. In here, we can change change how many entries we want to see. So by default, it's 10. So it's manageable. We can see all the entries. But then if you want to see more, just by scrolling, you can have more and then just have 3 pages. But if you want to have something more manageable, 10 per page, and then you can just go page by page. You can do your sorting by country, by average pollution, and we can have a look in the future in a second. I'm going to change that a little bit so it tells us more. This data here, right now, it doesn't say that much. But what else can we do? We can, for example, go and do something like, I don't know, I want to see how is Poland doing. And there you go. All the PL entries are being shown. Let's see how many entries, 5.5. We have 5.5 here, here, and here. That doesn't say that much. And then maybe, I don't know, show me all 3 entries. And then we can see that we have about 40 entries here of all 3. So it's way better now. You can see much more, much more, and you can do much more. And look, it took us a couple of minutes to implement it from this gigantic blob. Now we have this smart table. So great. But now I want to do something that help us to understand the data a little bit better. As you might remember, we had this in our Excel files. The third line holds the limit 25, and here is the level. So what about we extract this 25 from here? So for each pollutant there is a limit and I checked every time it's an A3. So we are able to actually go to A3 and somehow parse this line and grab this number. So let's have a look. They all seem to be working exactly the same every time A3. So if we grab this, then we can put it into our table and say, okay, for now we can say that Italy has 1, 2, 3 of something, and we have no scale. So what about we put that to scale using this number? So let's start with adding some fields to air pollution models, and we want to add more information here. So we're going to call it, I don't know, limit value, let's say, and that's going to be models dot a small integer is more than enough. Let's make it null because I don't want to play null true. I don't want to play with like default numbers. Null true. We're going to make sure that it's going to go in there. Obviously, this means that there is a possibility that it's not going to be there. So we're going to save a pollutant with name, but we're not going to add a limit value, and that's going to be fine. It's going to be stored. If we didn't put that in here, database would say, sorry, I'm not going to save something that doesn't give me a limit value. Anyway, so that's done. So let's save, go to terminal, Python, manage py, make migrations. Okay, and then up, instead of make migrations, migrate, and that's done. Okay, so one thing is you might remember before we had to flush the database. I'm not going to flush it anymore. I'm going to just get rid of the entries, and well, I suppose we could update the pollutant that we already have, and they don't have a limit value. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go to air pollutant views. So in views there's all control, and this is where we control what's going on with the post request when we do go to Airpollutant website. So let's go to post. This is our post method. So this is where we parse the Excel file. And as you might remember, we actually grab the pollutant name from the tab name, and that's correct. They are in here. And then we just get or create by this name. So what about we get or create, and then we're gonna do something like this. Limit value is worksheet of A. It was A3, so because it's 0 indexed, we're gonna go A2. So that's gonna be A3 cell. And then I wanna split it by space. So I'm gonna get like 2 last bits will be 1, so the value I'm looking for, and then the units. So I'm not gonna get the units, I just want this value. So that's gonna be -1, -2 index, okay? So let's go here, get the value, and then split that value by, well, by default it's space. And then I wanna get -2 index, which is the second last element. Okay, so that's our limit, and that's going to be integer. We want that to be an integer. I suppose the Django is smart enough, so if we passed a string that can be turned into integer, it wouldn't give us an error, but I'm going to be explicit. So I have this integer here. Let's make sure I'm not crazy. Let's save that here and go to our website, refresh, and just make sure that we are using the most recent debugger. And let's add some data. 2016, upload. And step over. Where's step over? Here. Okay, and let's have a look at this. Evaluate. 50. Okay, so we're looking at 50, and because we are going through 2016, 16 is here, the first tab is PM10, and the value is 50. So I think I made it, it's correct. So let's just let it go, or just stop. I don't want it to be parsed, not for now anyway. And so let's say, okay, let's do it this way. If pollutant, so if not, so if it's null, or we can say, yeah, if I said not, if the limit value of the pollutant was 0, then it would still assume it's not. So I prefer to do it this way. If pollutant limit value is none, so that makes sure that we're looking at a null value, non-value in limit value. And for now, because I allowed it to be null true, this way they're all none. So they're gonna go through all those pollutants and be like, oh, there's no value in limit value. Let's grab it from the worksheet, and let's do what? Let's do pollutant dot limit value is limit value. So this bit from here, I grab it from Excel and I put it into pollutant dot limit value like this, and then all we have to do is pollutant dot save. Grand. Okay, save it. I'll take this away. Let's have a look. Let's see if it works. Okay, so I need to refresh this. What's going on? Oh, okay. So I need to run it. And let's go here, refresh. And 2016. Limit value, tuple object has no attribute limit value. I forgot that when you do get or create, it's a tuple. The return value is a tuple where the first element, so let's go here. I want the first element, which is the actual pollutant, and the second element of this tuple is true or false, depending if we created or got the object. So pollutant 0 and pollutant 0. Okay, now it works. Should work. Let's see. That's refreshed. Let's go here. Refresh this. Send again. So yeah, that's gonna do the post request. I know it's not very nice, but I can see that it's working in here. No errors, so it seems to be working as it's supposed to. And it seems file uploaded successfully. Okay, so it seems that it's fine. Let's go to the admin, pollutant entries, pollutants. So I can see they're not, yeah, okay, so they're fine. And now I can see, okay, this is 125, that's correct. Let's see if it's 50. Yeah, it should be 50. Let's see 03, and let's go to 03 actually, so you can see that it's 120. So it went well. Everything is fine. We have our pollutants, and they are showing the limit value as they should.